Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about the Radford family who have been naughty boys and girls recently. They've been taking their family across the Pennines. No, they haven't. The Atlantic. What the hell? They've been taking their family across the Atlantic to Florida, and they've been doing this since like the dawn of time because, you know, why not? It costs a pretty penny, but they can afford it. They use their children for money, and they also sell pies on the side, so, you know, they can bribe the Florida Disney World people with pies, whatever, right? So, but recently they've been across to Florida twice. I haven't followed the Radfords for a little while, so I don't know exactly what they've been up to too much, but I believe they've been at least once, maybe twice, to Florida, and they've been pulled up on it because they've been taking their children out of school. Now, this is a big topic and a very controversial one because lots of people do it. Lots of people are against the whole school finding system. If you take your kids out of school, then you get fined, etc. However, do these need to take their children out of school to do this? That is the big question, particularly when you factor in how much they actually spent on the tickets, the holiday that they went on. Noel and Sue Radford fined for taking kids out of school for £52,000 Disney trip. They spent £52,000 on a Disney trip. Noel and Sue Radford from Morecambe, Lancashire were found guilty of failing to ensure regular attendance at school for 4 of their children between March the 24th and May the 1st, 2025. The parents of Britain's largest family have been slapped with fines after whisking their children away from school for a lavish £52,000 jaunt to Disney World in Florida. That's a hell of a lot of money, that is, £52,000. Where the hell have they got that from? Apparently they own the pie shop, which is the biggest and bestest pie shop in the entirety of the world, and it earns them millions and millions of pounds, except it doesn't. So where's the £52,000 come from? That's my question. That's a lot of money. Unless, no, it's still a lot of money. £52,000. I'm in actual shock. Shock, I tell you. Shock. So, Noel and Sue Radford would rather take their kids to Florida, Disney, than have their kids in school, clearly. Noel and Sue Radford splashed out on the trip to mark Sue's 50th birthday in April 2025. However, despite claiming they were feeling the pinch last year, the costs of the extravagant holiday continue to mount after they were hit with fines last week. Yes, because they've spent £52,000 on a holiday, their little amount of fines added up on top of their trip, because I'm sure they're going to be, you know, they're just going to be so upset with the few quid that they've been fined from the local authority. The couple, hailing from Morecambe, Lancashire, were found guilty at Preston Magistrates Court of failing to ensure regular school attendance for 4 of their children between March the 24th and May the 1st, 2025. They were each fined £65 per child plus £118 court costs, adding an additional £756 to the cost of the Florida getaway. So that was I honestly don't think they care, right? If they can spend 52 grand on a holiday, then, you know, 700 odd quid is not gonna break their bank at all. Anyway, the star of Channel 5's 22 Kids and Counting posted snaps from the family holiday on Instagram during the break. The photos included a shot of the family posing with Donald Duck and Sue donning Minnie Mouse ears while holding a giant drink. Well, okay. I just don't get their desire to keep going back to Disney. Surely they've been once, they've been a million times. Well, no, they have been a million times. But, you've been once. Why would you want to go again and again and again? But it's just like... I don't know. It's the pie business, isn't it? It's giving them all that money to spend, obviously. The extravagant holiday saw Noel and Sue fork out for flights, accommodation and park passes for their own children and 11 grandchildren. Why did only 4 of their kids come? Is those the only ones that are young enough to want to come? Are the rest of their kids, they don't want to go to Disney anymore? Shouldn't you take that as a sign, Sue? A sign that it's all over. Mind you, they've got to take all the grandkids, haven't they? That's what it's all about. 11 grandchildren. Did those grandchildren get taken out of school as well? Did they also receive fines? I don't know the ages of these kids, by the way, the grandkids, so I don't know. Are they of school age? And were they taken out of school? Were they fined as well? All these questions that need to be answered. I don't know. However, they faced criticism for leaving behind their daughter Chloe, 29, who was due to give birth to her second child. Now that's very interesting because, wouldn't you want your mum around now? Or wouldn't you want to be there for your grandchild who's about to be born? But on the other hand, I can kind of understand, spent 52 grand on a holiday and you're not going to waste that, are you? Mind you, Sue could have just stayed behind. Noel could have taken the kids. It's not like he hasn't done that before, has he? Sorry, he's not one of those. Nah. Make up your own minds, innit? For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Noel got with Sue when he was nearly 18 and she was 13. Right, so that is the issue that most people have with these. They're just a lovely family. They wouldn't do anything wrong, of course they wouldn't. Anyway, however, the celebratory journey hit a snag when 24-year-old Millie Radford and her 2 children were stranded at the airport due to expired ESTA certificates. Noel, the hero, though, stayed back to assist them in reapplying, and they joined the rest of the family in Florida the following day. The excitement just carries on and on and on here, doesn't it? I'm glad they got to enjoy their little jaunt to Florida because they've had many holidays in the past and they needed another one, bless them, isn't it? So, she's just turned 50 and she needed a break from the rigours of everyday life. She's got all of her older kids looking after her younger kids, so I'm not quite sure what Sue actually does in her life in general. It goes on to say something birthday on March the 22nd, 2025, playfully claiming she was actually 49 plus 1 just weeks after their return from the birthday trip. The family were spotted jetting off to Florida once again for another holiday in June. So they took the kids out of school in April to Florida and they went back to Florida in June. I'm not quite sure if I'm misreading that. Did they actually go twice in like 2 months or something like that? Is that actually what happened? Because that's the way I'm reading it, and that's a bit concerning. So if anybody who knows more than me could let me know in the comments down below, that would be great. The Radfords had previously told the Mirror they were feeling the pinch financially, but appear to have spared no expense for their holiday in April. So yeah, that was huge expense, and they had no regard for their kids and their education. Obviously the kids need education, or do they, because maybe their future lies in the baby breeding industry like their parents. Sue and Noel star in Channel 5's 22 Kids and Counting, and also earn money from their business, the Radfords Pie Company. But the Radfords Pie Company isn't doing great. It's doing okay, but not brilliantly. So where they got the money from, I just don't know, isn't it? Anyway, let me know what you think of this situation. Are the Radfords right to have taken their kids down out of school to go to Florida and to Disney, or were they? Have they been inappropriate in the taking the kids out of school? Did they do wrong? Were they, trying to pull a fast one? Were they, or what would you have done in this situation? I know it's difficult because a lot of you may not have the money to take the kids out in term time, but the Radfords, say, absolutely can afford it. So there we go. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you all so much. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and bye bye.